Hello, my name is Joshua Glazer, and I'm a specialist in the Old Master Paintings Department at Christie's, New York. Today we're going to look at a wonderful work of art, the ReadingTheArnolfiniPortrait, painted in 1434 by Jan van Eyck. What do we see when we look at this painting? A man and a woman stand in a beautifully furnished room. They hold hands while the man makes a gesture with his right hand. The woman, who we assume is his wife, rests her left hand on her stomach. Jan van Eyck presents a very balanced composition. The man on the left, the woman on the right. On the right side, we see objects associated with femininity. We have the large bed, the brush hanging from the chair. On the left side, he presents objects associated with the masculine world. That's the world of outside. We see an open window looking out into a garden. And we have the clogs, which would be worn when you went outside. Finally, in the foreground, a small dog looks out right at us. There are certain signs within the painting itself that help us identify who could be portrayed. The couple are holding hands, so this is clearly a married couple. Their house is furnished with very expensive objects. Even the oranges that appear on the windowsill were extremely expensive objects because they had to be imported from Spain. The woman with this voluminous green dress lined with fur. The man, his garments, which are also lined with fur. If we look out the window, we see the cherry tree, which allows us to determine that this painting is taking place during the summer. The only reason that they would wear these very heavy clothes in the summertime is to show that they could afford clothes like this. So we know that these are people of high social standing and wealth. And finally, the dog could be a symbol of fidelity, emphasizing the bond of marriage. Dogs were used in this way going back to antiquity. However, a more likely possibility is that it's also the family pet. The person who is most likely to be shown here is Giovanni di Niccolao Arnolfini. He worked primarily as a merchant of luxury goods. This is a man who had enough wealth and status to live in a house like we see here. Giovanni Arnolfini married in 1426 Costanza Trenta, and it is possible that that is who's being portrayed here. We have one problem, however. Costanza had died before this painting was made. One possibility is that this is Giovanni with his wife and it was painted to preserve that memory of their marriage. A more likely possibility is that Giovanni remarried and that what we see here is his new bride. Taking a closer look at the bride herself, we notice that her stomach appears to swell. This has led some historians to suggest that she is in fact pregnant. But let's take a closer look. We see, in fact, that the bride is gathering up the very long train of her dress. This is a pose designed to show to the viewer the very costly material that went into making such a dress. So that theory that she's pregnant can be completely laid to rest. Taking a closer look at the painting, we can begin to study how it was made. Jan van Eyck applies layers of oil paint and glazes built up over time, and this technique allows him to render the portrait and the room with incredible detail, to render the tactile sensation of each type of material. To the back of the room, we see a circular, convex mirror. In that mirror, we see the reflection of the room, the backs of Giovanni and his wife, but also two additional figures standing in the doorway. The man in blue, although we cannot make out his face, is likely Jan van Eyck himself. And right above that, we see Jan van Eyck's name. And he's written, Jan van Eyck has been here, 1434. By putting his name on the wall, Jan van Eyck not only signs the painting, but he also insists what we are looking at is a real scene that Jan van Eyck has witnessed. Jan van Eyck is considered to be the father of the Northern Renaissance. His influence is profound on the art of his time. And when you look at a painting like this and you see that he's showing himself to the modern viewer, to me, that's a really wonderful thing, because the artist is present with us when we were looking at this work of art that has fascinated people for so many centuries. But at the end, it's the universal human interaction of a man and his wife, his dog, that immediate link that you get when you look at this work of art that transcends time.